God damn. When I go home, people ask me, hey, Hoot, why do you do it, man? Why? You some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand about the man next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, #1 listener-supported radio, the printing press for freedom at a time when freedom is needed the most.
What is going on here? I demand an explanation.
We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency.
An intelligence witness fears intelligence historically not awesome.
The United States is a democratic nation. Here the people rule. We build no walls to keep them in, nor organize any system of police to keep them mute.
Freedom isn't free at all, but it comes with the highest of costs.
We have you, the listeners, and the hosts at
Revolution Radio
for allowing us to bring you a platform of free speech.
Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
watch for now. Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken house, the smoking gun. On the run.
We're hot. We're hot.
Sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios.
Well, a new art exhibit is making headlines across the globe after a church put an artificial intelligence version of Jesus Christ in a confessional. The installation, titled Deus in Machina, is on exhibit at St. Peter's Chapel in Lucerne, Switzerland. People can interact with a hologram version of Jesus and receive spiritual advice and encouragement. And joining us now to talk more about this is Christoph Wimmer, the EWTN News editor for Europe and Asia. Christoph, always good to be with you, my friend.
It's Friday night. My name's Jimmy. And Into the Microcosm is on the up. Rock and Rio. Are you there?
I think so.
I can't tell. Melvin Taylor's drowning you out.
Yeah, I think I'm here.
You're there, yeah. We're coming to you low-tech style tonight. Rock and Rio is on location in the heart of Texas.
Actually, I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida. Oh, that's right.
I'm in Florida, yeah.
That's right. You guys went to Florida. Man, look at you guys. How is it? How is it down there?
That was nice. It was 80 degrees today, so sunny. It was a little rainy in the afternoon, but not too bad. But I'll tell you what, the barbecue down here is not anywhere near the barbecue in Texas, man. We had some brisket for lunch today, and it was okay, but it wasn't Black's, man.
No.
That's all I can say. It wasn't Black's.
No, we got a whole bunch of people in the chat room over Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean on YouTube. And I don't know who's over in Revolution Radio chat, the Matrix chat, but Revolution Radio is full of listener supporters. Come on down, become supporters. Obviously, we've been here for 13 years. Thanks to everyone who has been supportive over the years, and we appreciate you all very much. But without you, it wouldn't be possible. So come on down, become supporters. There's 48 hours a day, Studio A, Studio B. You can't go wrong. Stick around, tune in, turn on, find out. Like tonight, for example. It's Into the Microcosm every Friday night, 9 o'clock Pacific. You'll find us here, midnight on the East Coast. It's even midnight down in Florida, isn't it? So enjoy. It's the So what's the scene down in Florida now? Do you find the restaurants to be packed? Do you see people in the malls? Is there shopping going on? What's going on Black Friday today over there? Anything of note?
Oh, I don't know. I don't do the Black Friday thing. I kind of hid out.
You fade out.
My sister and them, they all went for the Black Friday massacre, but me and my dad just kind of chilled out and went and had some lunch, hung around a little bit, played some video games today, that kind of thing.
So you didn't hear about any violence? Anybody taking a beating over some TVs, some flat screens?
Not yet, no.
I don't think people even scrap over flat screens anymore. They're like a dime a dozen at this point. What are you gonna buy a 60-inch for like $30 down at Best Buy?
Yeah. Well, you might get shot over the Tickle Me Elmo doll. Remember that?
No.
Back in, and it was probably, I don't know, 20 25 years ago or so. But there was, I was out shopping with my girlfriend, and we were looking at these Tickle Me Elmo dolls, and we were like, yeah, well, what's the big deal with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were like stupid expensive. And it turned out that was like the big Black Friday thing, right? It saw racks and shelves full of them, like 2 days before you could have bought them for not even thought about it. But there ended up being like people getting shot over the Tickle Me Elmo dolls because it was the hot item that year. I remember that like very specifically. And you see the chaos in Walmart.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
Is there running each other over with their shopping carts and stuff?
I remember that's how it used to be, but is it still that way? I mean, are there that many people like busting out? I mean, I'm
sure it still happens.
Do you remember Kev Baker used to do the running of the sheeple every Black Friday, and they would look at videos of people going berserker over shit. But like I say, I haven't really noticed or anything out of the ordinary. It hasn't cropped up for me today. So I think maybe so far it's been quiet. I did hear the Amazon employees are going to strike over the weekend and going into Cyber Monday to throw a kink in Amazon's plans for the end of the year. It is kinky, but I'll just say it is kinky because when the Starbucks, they had the worst year they've ever had financially. I think it was. It may be the worst or the second worst. They make some
decent coffee. They wouldn't have them problems.
Right, but you notice that, and I don't want to, and because I'm not against unions, but I'm just saying, you notice when they went union, all of a sudden, whoosh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was talking to a dude the other day about espresso. I was saying, man, you know what, man, I'm sick and tired of these. If I'm paying $4 for a cup of coffee, I want to see some elbow grease, okay? I want to see sweat on the brow. I want to see you moving your hand back and forth, packing the shit out of my espresso. So the crema comes out, the way it's supposed to, with the little white dot on the end. And I was talking to this dude about it, and I was telling him the same thing I just told you. And you know what he said? He said when he was making espresso, he had to go to this thing, and it had an amount of pound pressure that you had to push on it when he was getting trained. Mm-hmm. It was like he had to put 250 pounds of pressure on it to pass the test.
You pack it properly, and then you
That's
have
what
to
I mean.
pierce it. There's a way to do it the right way.
That's what I'm saying. It was an art to it, and I've turned the art into a plastic bucket, squirting some hot water.
It's funny, like Starbucks here and some of the other coffee places, they have their, the way we do espresso, just like the way we do coffee. But I very distinctly remember in Europe, like every corner cafe you went to, you could get like a real deal, like legit espresso, and the guy would work it like it's supposed to be. And I'm sure they still do it that way, right?
Man, I used to go in, and every single time I'd get a coffee, I'd say, give me a coffee with 2 shots of espresso in there. You know what I mean? I don't do that anymore. And that's why Starbucks is losing money. You know what I mean? Because when you get a cup of coffee at Starbucks, dude, find me the crema. You know what I'm saying? There isn't any. Without the cream, without the crema, it's just a bucket of hot piss, really. That point.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, their coffee sucks in general. So
it does.
I don't go there. It's like a last-ditch effort if you really, really have to have a coffee, and it's the only way to get one. I might go for it, but
man,
I'd rather
there was some burnt shit at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's my point. And at $6 a cup.
That reminds me of that whole bit, coffee-flavored coffee. You remember that guy? That comedian? What was that comedian with the song, You're an Asshole?
Dennis Miller.
Yeah, Dennis Miller. He does a whole bit about coffee-flavored coffee.
No, that wasn't Dennis Miller. That was...
no, not Dennis Miller, but you're close.
Yeah, Dennis Miller was a Saturday Night Live guy. Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary, exactly. He does a whole coffee-flavored coffee thing. Maybe I'll dig that up. Now, have you heard about this AI Jesus thing? Because we talked about this a while back. And it's funny because now...
Is AI Jesus coming?
Well, yeah, AI Jesus is not coming. AI Jesus is here. A church in Switzerland... Now, listen to this. A church in Switzerland recently installed an artificial intelligence of Jesus Christ in the confessional booth. The AI, known as the Deus in Machina, was installed at Peter's Chapel Catholic Church in Lucerne, Switzerland, as part of a social experiment. So I want to understand just how people would react to an AI Jesus, is what they're saying. Here, I got a report. Let's let them do it while I check the perimeter.
One new art exhibit is making headlines across the globe after a church put an artificial intelligence version of Jesus Christ in a confessional. The installation, titled Deus in Machina, is on exhibit at St. Peter's Chapel in Lucerne, Switzerland. People can interact with a hologram version of Jesus and receive spiritual advice and encouragement. And joining us now to talk more about this is Christoph Wimmer, the EWTN News editor for Europe and Asia. Christoph, always good to be with you, my friend. This story is really making a lot of headlines across the world. Many reporting that AI Jesus is hearing confessions, but the technology is not actually involved in the sacrament of penance, is it?
That's right, Tracy. Great to be here. Just even to clarify that, right? So that AI Jesus project, it's in St. Peter's Church in Lucerne in Switzerland, is not administering the sacrament of reconciliation in any way. It's an art installation. It's part of an exhibit designed to provoke thought, discussion about the role of technology in our lives, including, of course, the spiritual life. But it's not the sacrament, which is deeply human. It's sacramental. You know, we need a priest acting in the person of Christ and no machine, no matter how sophisticated or cool, can take on that role, even in a confessional, which is probably where that confusion came from.
Well, what's your response among people who maybe been to the art exhibit? What have they been saying?
More human than human. There he is. Hey, welcome, Nobody. Mr. Nobody just popped in.
Oh, nice.
It's nice to know that nobody is here. Shh. Don't tell nobody. 2 rules. First, don't tell nobody. Second, don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Shh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so AI Jesus, there you go. So, you know. Yeah, I mean, at this point, technologically speaking, there could be this ever-watching eye, very, very, not even too far off in the not too distant future. There could be an ever-watching eye. Like, in other words, once you've been positively identified, then at that point there's no more wrongdoing. You know, you're not allowed to do it. Anything you do is on the camera from now on. You know, and there you are, and ba-boom, boop, scan your face. There he is, rockin' Rio. Yep,
and
that's
as
him.
you're confessing to AI Jesus, he's making notes of all your sins and reporting you to the FBI and
To the man.
Yeah,
He's telling you, got you.
He's letting Google know, and the other agencies as well.
Well, the thing is too about the AI Jesus is that one moment it's AI Jesus, and you're in there in the confessional, you're confessing, and to you it's AI Jesus, but all of a sudden, because it's a networked device with a processor, all of a sudden Jesus, the Jesus program goes out, and the man program comes in, and now you're telling the man everything you just did down at the gas station. You know, you robbed that gas station. You shouldn't have done it. It was Black Friday, but you couldn't resist because you had to go down and get a $30 flat screen, 60-inch smart TV, because you got to have that smart TV everywhere you go. Now, I got some stuff here, you know, lined up. I got a bunch of stuff, and one of the things, and the reason I'm bringing up this ID thing is because we talked about the 2 things that are going to happen, you know, war and these positive ID moving into the crypto age. And I think, you know, people, once the positive IDs thing starts to take shape, I think it'll happen simply because people, you know, want to be protected. I mean, honestly, they make it so labor intensive for you to go to the store. I mean, you got to sit there and you got to You got to charge your phone. You know, you got to show up there. You got to, you know, it's like
You got to bring your own bags now.
Put your password in there. You know what I mean? You got to say yes or no. Do you want to donate to something? You know what I mean? It's this whole thing.
That gets me.
It's this whole thing, and people are to the point where what I'm saying right there, people have a fucking nervous breakdown over it. They don't want to do it. And that's what I mean. I mean, if you're 30 and under, you're going to scan eyeball as quick as you can say Jack Robinson. Those people don't want to sit there and mess with they don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, now, you know, you can get your groceries DoorDash to you, right? So you just tell them what you want, and somebody else goes and does the shopping.
I was talking
and delivers it. You know, I mean,
I was talking to this dude at work, and he was telling me he's got a, you know, he's got a roommate, and the guy works from home, and he's been working from home for a period of time, and he's to the point now where he doesn't even leave the house. It's like he'll wait. He tells my buddy, because his roommate, he goes, "Hey, dude, if you stop by 7-Eleven, you know, can you pick me up at this or that?" You know, it's like he doesn't even want to leave the house. He's just sitting there. You know, I think a lot of people have gotten to that point where you just call and order your groceries. I mean, why do you want to go down there? But you're not going to be able to order your groceries online without showing your face, man, showing your eyeball. And they're you know, Australia, for some reason, they were super extreme during the Michelle Pfeiffer incident. Mm-hmm. And they did a bunch of stuff. And so far, I haven't heard anybody really, no one did anything about it. No one pushed back on it. And they just mowed over the Australian people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They threw them in camps, literally. And, you know, and this and that. So anyways, it's to the point where what's that one fucker? I can't think of his name now. The Crow House. You know that guy? You know what I'm talking about? The Crow House. Anyways, he's a broadcaster. He's been on the air for 1 million years, and he left there because he was scared they were coming to get him. He went on the run to Mexico or whatever. But I'll give you a piece of news in case you haven't heard about it. Now, I sent you a JPEG of one of the listeners, AA, sent me an email. And the email had this JPEG of some happenings that are going on with Ryan Gable. And I'm going to let you guys be aware of it because we used to be on this network. And we ain't on there anymore. And so, I mean, you might say I even have an axe to grind, that I never actually ground that axe on the air. But anyways, this is from Ryan Gable's Facebook post. It says, Rovidix Media, behind Aftermath Media, is threatening contract termination and implying legal action if I refuse to take down certain of my shows and their website for unspecified reasons. As I continue to talk about unspecified things that are not defined, the only hint given was anything perceived anti-Semitic. I have asked for specific examples, legal, moral, ethical, policy, rules, etc., violations, so on and so forth. They're currently purging the shows from the archives, so on and so forth. So there you go. We're moving into the future. Now, this is the same network that Clyde Lewis and them are on. So, and this is the network that we were on. And, you know, we left there, and it wasn't on good terms or whatever, you know, for specific people involved over there, not including Clyde Lewis or Ron or any of those guys. But the specific Rob dude or whatever over there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm gonna reach out to Ryan, and maybe I'll fill him in on some of the details of what had went on previously, and see if maybe they're trying to pull some of that nonsense on him. We'll see.
It wouldn't surprise me, and you know, I don't know what the motivation behind that would be, though, right? If you would think that if you have a successful show on your network.
Yeah, well, that ain't the way it works. That ain't the way it works for this Rob dude. So the way it works is Rob dude is he brings people on the network, and then everybody's excited.
That he likes, right? That
Everybody's
he's like making his own echo chamber kind of deal. If you disagree with the guy, you're out, right? Is that?
No, what he does is he brings people on his network, and then the person that's brought on the network's listeners are very excited that they're on the network, and they go over and sign up over there. But unless they know they got to sign up specifically for Ryan Gable's show, the money that comes in just goes into the Clyde Lewis one, or the main network one. But you never know. And so when we were on there, a bunch of people signed up, but we never even knew. Anyways, they signed up, but we never got anything out of it, out of that way that was set up. So. But anyways, I would just say that, at some point when you bring these new people on the network and the excitement dies down and the new subscriptions die down, then it's a matter of now you're just sitting there. You're not bringing any new money into the network anymore. And now you're somebody sitting back there censoring the dude or whatever. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Allegedly censoring the dude. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, moving into the future, what you look at, this is an alternative media network the guy's on.
Yeah, and they're. They might have some fear of, the cancel culture and that kind of stuff too. But
it almost smells. Because that guy, that guy is a rat.
That's what I thought at first.
No, that Rob guy is a rat. Mm-hmm. And not allegedly. He's a rat, in my opinion. And
I would concur with your opinion.
I mean, at this point, what isn't possible, really? You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, if you don't want someone saying something and it's the alternative media, you could do the same thing that they do in the regular media. You just go over there and go, hey, look, do me a favor. If you keep this kind of viewpoint quiet, here's 10G for you. Just don't say nothing about this or that. I don't want you talking about pink poodles, okay? Just do me a favor, all right? Here's 10 grand. Don't talk about pink poodles. No big deal, right? What do you care? You don't have to talk about pink poodles, do you? I mean, there's a million other things in the world you can talk about. Just don't talk about pink poodles, Rock Rio, and here's 10 grand. How's that sound?
Sounds like a deal to me.
Right on. Well, hey, did you know I got a new hobby? I'm breeding invisible dogs. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously. If you guys, anyone interested in a low-maintenance pet, old Jimmy's, I'm breeding invisible dogs. I got a fresh litter right here of some good-looking puppies. Anybody needs a friend and a pet, let me know. We'll see what we can do for you, But
I have some rocks with some googly eyes on them. They make good pets too.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's coming up. Christmas time's coming up. People like animals. People like to, have something. Everyone likes to have a happy face when they come home. If you live by yourself. Yeah, he's getting high on his own supply. Exactly. No, that just should tell you how just the fact that I'm bringing it up, because you all know how I feel about that operation. So, I mean, the Ryan Gable show and all that. But, he is a fellow broadcaster. But, I mean, the thing is I knew something was going to happen eventually. I almost wanted to, when he got on there, I almost wanted to say, hey, dude, you better be careful, and just say this, that, and the other thing to him. But I didn't. But I don't know. Here we are. There we go. Hey, there's Luna. Yeah. So anyways, back to what we were saying. There we go. We gave Ryan a plug. If you guys want to help him out, I don't know if there's something you can do. I don't know if he's got a website or whatever. And like I say, I didn't see it. One of the listeners sent it to me. D-Light wants an invisible dog. No problem. Yeah, we got it. I got you. I got you covered. So, no, I was going back to it. So now, see if you can dig this up while I bring it to your attention. Now, are you aware of this positive ID in Australia to get on the internet?
No, I am not.
No, because I'm sure a lot of people. It's one of those kind of things that there's so much noise in the environment that it's hard to really focus in on anything specific at this point. Mostly, what's going on is the potentiality for war in over there in Russia. And when I said war, I didn't necessarily mean Russia either, because I hear there's deals being cut down in Mar-a-Lago already. And I saw that Zelensky came out today and said he's willing to move in a direction for a certain reward. But I'd be willing to bet you he's going to get a reward, but he's, I think there's going to be peace possibly and potentially there. But I don't think there'll be peace elsewhere. I think in the Middle East, for example. But did you find this now? This positive ID on the internet down in Australia, Luna, is that true? Luna's over there, so maybe she knows. Are they fomenting a program? Yeah, there she goes, digital ID. All right, so when is that going to take effect, Luna? We should have Luna call in.
We can still run the phones from here, so
we can. Okay, cool.
Yes, we can.
So did you find it?
I'm looking here.
All right. So listen. In the meantime, while you're looking for that, I got a bunch of video, and unfortunately, if you're listening and you can't go to YouTube, you won't see any of these videos. But I really think, for example, you got to see these videos because these are UAP videos. Okay, so some dude is standing out in the street, out in front of his house. Okay, he looks up in the sky and he notices a UAP or a UFO. All right, and so he's got a laser pointer in his hand, and he tries to shoot it at this item that's floating around, going back and forth, making these weird moves in the sky. And he gets lucky and he hits it. And then the thing shines a green laser right back at the guy. So you guys know I don't, we don't talk about UFOs too much on here. And but this here I think deserves for you to see. So In the Microcosm Jimmy Jean on YouTube, if you want to see it. I don't know what dialogue there is around it. Let's just see.
Down this way.
That's just the beginning of it.
Oh, here's another one right here. You see him? Flying right over our heads. Pointing it right at him. And now he's turning.
Ooh,
yeah.
Flashed.
Yeah, you see him?
Yeah, it just flashed.
I'm lasering at him, and he's curving. Shit. Started here, and then he flew and curved down this way.
That's just the beginning of it.
Oh, here's another one right here. You see him? Flying right over our heads. Pointing it right at him. And now he's turning.
Ooh,
yeah.
Flashed.
Yeah, you see him?
Yeah.
Man, that's not the one where it flashed back real good. I gotta dig it out.
My thought on this is if you're pointing a laser beam at that thing and he's zipping around like that and jumping at it away or whatever, I mean, I would be a little leery that there'd be a laser beam coming back at me, right?
It did come back at him. That's what I mean. I'm looking for it. I got it. I sent you a bunch.
The thing took a shot at him?
Well, it just shined a green laser back in his eyes or whatever. Here it is right here. Yeah, here it is.
Pretty wild.
It's on the screen right now. This is what happened when he did it. Hold on a second. Let me get this opened up.
Sí, es que debe ser un metal grande o un espejo, no sé.
Porque se dio filete en negro.
Porque para que rebote de esa forma, claro, ¿cachai? Eso no es una linterna, ya cachamos que no es una linterna. Es el rebote. ¿Cachai? Yo alumbro para allá.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and then it brings into question all this other stuff. There's a whole bunch of this other stuff that I have here. For example, here. All of a sudden, these green beams are a thing. All right? Have you seen these? It's not just, it's all over the place. Here, stand by. I got another clip here. And you can just listen to this, and you don't have to see it, but the microcosm Jimmy Jean if you want to see it.
Scanning the ground with that green laser.
People started paying attention after this particular video went viral. In this video, you can see a plane flashing a green laser and kind of scanning the ground. This made a lot of people start questioning what the heck was going on. Where were these green lasers coming from? And then just a couple of months later, a CCTV camera captured what looks like several green laser beams of light descending from space. Needless to say, this got a lot of attention, and experts and researchers were saying that this probably came from a Chinese satellite, but no one knows.
What the f*** is that?
Now this is where things take a really strange turn. Just a couple of months after, there were several videos popping up all over the internet of what's supposed to be these green laser beams descending from the sky.
What in the ever-living fuck is that?
This caught so much attention that it ended up on the news, and they actually found out that some of the planes scanning the ground with these green lasers were owned by a company named Randigo, but still, no one knew why they were doing this.
I was just getting home and I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times. I've never had flight radar until this happened, because I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it, it just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo.
Little by little, people started researching about Randigo, and they found out several patterns. In one of them, you can see several pictures coming from flight radar of the plane's paths. Whatever they're doing, it's as if they're scanning something, maybe weather patterns, maybe something else. In another Reddit post, someone found out that the company owns 33 planes and 33 employees, and I don't know why, but this raised a lot of red flags.
Gonna crash into the house. Wait till you see the laser coming off the bottom of it. Check the radar map. He's 1,200 feet off the ground. You see that green laser coming off the bottom.
And then, another Reddit user posted something like this. This plane flew over me this evening and was spraying something. Smell was awful. So I did a quick research just to double check if this plane was owned by Randigo, and guess what? It is. Strange, isn't it? What the heck is going on? It seems no one knows, but I want to know your take. What are these green lasers descending from space and from planes? What's going on?
What's going on, Rio? What are these?
That's a good question.
What are these green?
I would wonder if it's some kind of like LiDAR scanning for 3D environments. You know, they're taking a topographical reading for some VR or some kind of thing like that. You know, much like your phone does your Face ID.
Well, I just mean maybe there's, you can just scan the face of the Earth, man, and map it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then there's other applications where it's you could use ultra wideband and actually look in the side of whatever house you want to look in.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility too.
But these green lasers don't seem weaponized. In other words, they're scanning, but there's nothing happening. There's just the scanning. But
yeah, there's no Lahaina situation.
No, but I mean, suppose that's just the aiming mechanism or whatever, the targeting mechanism, like you're painting a target with these green lasers. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it doesn't mean when you target it that it's going to be a fire. Maybe it's something.
Well, it may not necessarily be a nefarious purpose, as in, injury or destruction, but that doesn't mean that they're not. Like I said, doing topography or spying on someone or locating something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's the painting of the target, man. That's what I think. But we'll see. I mean, I don't mean target meaning something bad's going to happen there. I just mean once it's scanned, it's in the database, right? Your house ain't moving. You know, Main Street's still going to be Main Street. You know, and
it might be just a new version of Google Street View for all you know.
Yeah, and who knows what you can do from there. You know, once you've gotten the scan, then, you know, you can utilize all the cameras around a certain area. Like, you know, hey, this guy went into that address at that house. They already got the scan. They can just, you know, give you the floor plan or whatever.
Well, they can already do that for the satellites.
All right.
They can see through the walls and do a 3D full rendering of most buildings.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I mean. It's just I mean, with the advent of the artificial intelligence aspect of it, all things could be utilized. In other words, so the rendering of the inside of your house can be seen through the frequencies from the wireless that's being blasted through.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So listen, here's some good information. I'm gonna let this roll for a few minutes. It's into the microcosmos Friday night. I'm here with Rock and Rio. Epic Journeyman is on vacation and at a wedding.
Our hand. This is a problem. This is a fundamental problem. So we have a lot of privacy problems. Now, the internet is going to go through a change over the next about 6 months. And
okay, so really would like you to, you know, take a listen to this and pay attention to what's going to be being said here, just for your own knowledge, because we did talk a little bit about crypto last week. And so this has what he's going to be talking about here might help some people if you have crypto and you haven't maybe considered what this dude's going to be talking about. Now, this is Privacy X channel. If you want to check this out, Privacy X channel. All right. So here comes Privacy X.
You're going to start seeing a couple of blackouts on the internet. You're going to start seeing the internet go down. We've seen a test run when that Microsoft system happened and all the flights were canceled and all the companies. I'm talking about we're going to have a couple 24 to 48 hour outages. And I've been talking to a lot of people in government who are talking about this. It's going to be across the planet. The internet's going to go down a couple times. They're going to talk about updating the fiber in the ocean, which they've been doing, but that doesn't take the internet down. You do it in pieces. It's like repairing the power. You don't have to shut the whole world down because they're repairing the power here in Las Vegas, right? That's not how it works. But you're going to see a couple blackouts in the internet. What they're doing is they're changing over to the quantum computing that runs the core cells. And if you look at the core cells with quantum computing and how they're able to operate, we've done this in the military for a long time. What this is going to allow them to do is cache everything. You need to take your data, you need to wipe it, probably on at least every 3-month basis, cache it on an encrypted hard drive, and off of your core machine. You also need to take all the apps and all the excess off your machine that you can. Now, I recommend Linux machines because you have full control. If you happen to have a Apple machine, only use what's necessary. And if you have a Windows machine, run it over with your truck. I've talked about this at length. You do not, Windows, you're done. Windows, you're just part of the system. You know, worst case, you use Windows for your job and you you turn everything off, put it in a Faraday bag, and that's it. But if you're using Windows for personal, in about 6 months, you're going to be part of the Skynet. You're going to be one of the machines, because what they're doing is they're creating a series of machines where they can utilize that power. The power of all these devices and the addiction of all these devices, that people have these devices around them, what this does is it creates a network of machines that they can piggyback off of.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. So basically, what they're saying is positive ID, quantum internet, okay? Quantum internet, and your machine will be part of this hive of machines where all the processing power of all the machines, right? Is that what he's saying, Rio? He's saying...
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, I mean, to some extent, they already do that, right? That's kind of the idea of how supercomputers work in general is that there's 1,000 machines that are all processing.
Yeah, but these are all the machines on Earth, all at the same time. Is what he's talking
Well,
about.
if you think back about 20, 30 years ago, they had this thing called the SETI project, right? Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And they did that. You downloaded a little client, you put it on your machine, and when your machine was sitting idle or had cycles to spare, it would process these files and then re-upload them back into the SETI experiment. So you would think, 20 years later that they could bake something like that into
Well, no,
Windows.
and we've talked about
to use your processing power to feed the supercomputer, as it were.
Well, we've talked about this before too, and it can offload. It can offload low level tasks, to this echelon, this higher order of computing. You know what I mean? But what he's saying, he's talking about information, and we've been talking about it, and we've been saying the positive ID. Now, here's the thing. Once, and this is almost the attractive thing about this. I mean, because you're going to have to find something positive about it, because there's not going to be any way around this. This is happening. This is not going to be any way around it. But the positive thing is this. With the advent of private quantum computing networks, like we're talking about, if this is actually viable and possible at this moment, if this is actually true, then there would be no more secure method of your information than to have your information stored on a quantum computer. Because unless you had a quantum computer, there's no way that quantum computer is ever going to get hacked by some dude with a PC somewhere, or whatever device. So at least when your information's on the quantum internet, you'll be fine, right, Rio? Like if you scan your eyeball. If you scan your eyeball, then they won't be able to hack it on a quantum system, right? Is that the idea?
Well, yeah, if you do all your processing on the device, right? When I open up my laptop, it scans my eyeball and says, "Oh, you're the guy who's allowed to use this laptop, and this is how much time you get to use it, and this is what you're allowed to run on it, and that's it."
Right, and now you're on the internet, and they know it's you, Rock and Rio. So, like when you go over to the I Love Cheesecake website to look at the newest cheesecake concoctions, it knows that you went there. It's not secret anymore. Okay, the fact that you love cheesecake is now, out there because you eyeballed in.
And specifically that you love chocolate chip cheesecake.
Well, there you go. Well, the same thing. You're going to have to eyeball in to go over and play your video game too. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I'll give you a hint. If all the video games, the online gaming stuff where people play together as teams or whatever, if they started requiring like kids to scan their eyeballs to get on that video game, there wouldn't be a question whether they scan their eyeball.
Oh,
just like if you told a bunch of people, here's $5,000, let me scan your eyeball and go to Europe. They'd do it. Who wouldn't do it? Here's $5,000. Let me scan your eyeball. Wouldn't you do it? Most people would. They don't give a shit about it.
I mean, people were taking needles for a free cheeseburger, so.
Well, I'm just saying, people don't care, man. I mean, most people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't even have to offer them $5,000. Just give them some free fries at McDonald's, and they'll do it.
All right, let's continue on.
It would be that easy.
Let's march on with Privacy X.
I've said this for the last 3 years. AI, 5G, you've got the quantum computing systems, and then you've got the social credit score that the government is implementing. Now, you won't see...
Okay, I want to point this out, okay, real quick. Because when I hear him saying quantum internet. Now, I remember 5 or 6 years ago when Geordie Rose was on there, and it was the heartbeat of an alien god, and this and that. We're talking to the old ones, and we're bringing shit back from another universe. It's not a 1 or a 0, and we're bringing information back from someplace else and all that. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what they were doing wasn't what we imagined it to be in the way that it was being discussed. In other words, they weren't doing anything really. It was very rudimentary at that point. Okay, and so at that point, I looked into this quantum internet, or the idea of a quantum internet. And the only thing that I found one guy in a small college somewhere in New York, and he was developing a fiber optic quantum network. And it was in a very rudimentary stage. In other words, it's like personal computers were at the very beginning of the 80s. That kind of thing.
Right.
All right, so here we are. We're 7 years later, 8 years later, and here's dude saying quantum internet. Now I'm, and you and everybody listening, we gotta try to come to terms with, in 7 years, because you know how they were talking about one quantum computer could solve a problem in a millisecond that it would take every single computer in the world plus all the silicon in the earth to make the processors that we now use, and you still couldn't solve the problem that this quantum computer can solve. And that there's 3 or 4 of them, and they're owned by universities and this and that. So, I mean, honestly, we have no real way of knowing what the quantum computer is doing. And then if it in fact is doing what they say it is, and it's processing in the way they claim it does, then what happens to this quantum computer, Rock and Rio, when they apply the artificial intelligence that they're trotting out for us all over the planet at this given moment? Once,
it's Skynet, right? It's Skynet and Terminator. That's,
well, I mean, it's beyond.
That's the next step in the evolution.
You have to say it's
and maybe not to the point of destruction and war like we see in Terminator, but the power that it holds overall with the society and the control, I'm sure, will be a big thing.
The thing is, it's like knowing what to search for. It's like what I search for something and you search for something. It's different because I ask the question differently, and so do you. We're we ask the question differently. We're going to get different results because of the way we ask the question. So what I'm saying is, once you've gotten to the level of quantum computing, okay, and you know the right question to ask this AI steward or whatever, this interface between you and this quantum universe over there, and you can just ask it any question and it can solve a problem, like I said, that you couldn't solve in a million years with every computer on Earth, and all the silicon making more processors would never do it. So once you've reached that level, I mean, what kind of solutions would a quantum computer be coming up with a just call it a chat GPT? You know? Seems to me like, every single problem that ever existed could be solved, instantaneously at that point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or at least in very short order.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's bizarre when you think about how it's evolving, and I kind of keep my eyes on the tech, and they're currently working at a new type of chip that's not silicon based. Beyond, like, Intel's working on glass chips now, but that's still silicon. But they're working on other types of chips that are
plasma. It's
plasma
based, like a gel.
and
there's like a.
It's really crazy, but they're estimating that it's going to be like 1 million times faster than, like, legitimately 1 million times faster than what we're using now.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I'd tell you right now that seriously, I think at some point, and I mean, you could maybe what I'll do is I'll even ask ChatGPT about this next hour. I'll ask ChatGPT about this because water has memory in it. So something tells me water or a variation of it, like maybe salt water, might be a processing element at some point. Because really, at this point, wouldn't you say we've pretty much gotten away from a lot of the hardware? So there used to be all these servers in a room, and it was, you know, all these machines, and now there's virtual servers. Virtual servers. So a lot of what goes on now is actually virtual. You don't really need the processor in your computer anymore. Because if there's a main processing unit, you're just filtering in content. Your machine isn't doing any calculations. You don't need to calculate anything. You just need a receiving device to go somewhere. It's in the microcosm. Here's a Privacy X.
In the United States, a social credit score where you get scanned and you have this system where you're going to be one of the machines, because what they're doing is they're creating a series of machines where they can utilize that power. The power of all these devices and the addiction of all these devices, that people have these devices around them, what this does is it creates a network of machines that they can piggyback off of. I've said this for the last 3 years. AI, 5G, you've got the quantum computing systems, and then you've got the social credit score that the government is implementing. Now, you won't see in the United States a social credit score where you get scanned and you have this system where what'd you buy to eat or who'd you vote for. That system's not going to be here right now. Eventually, probably, the Chinese-style system, but that's more of what the liberals wanted. Keep in mind. Under this administration, you're not going to see that type of social credit score system. What you're going to see is more on the financial side and more on the encrypted data side. Also, freedom of speech is a great thing, but keep in mind it can also be used against you. Everything has pros and cons. There's a line, and you go on either side of that line. So the great thing about absolutionists with free speech, which I agree with, is there's pros, but the government can use that against you as cons. That's why a lot of liberals are saying don't say a word over the next 4 years. Probably smart, because they are going to get attacked. But
we're going to be right back.
freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
If you're sick of the lies and ready to know thyself, to love thyself, well then tune in to the Loveolution with your hosts, Amy and John Paul, where we speak all about truth, love, and freedom every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on the Revolution Radio. And remember, only you can free your mind control. Be a Loveolutionary.
Welcome to Coffee Rants with Dan. I am the spiritual anarchist, Dan Arnold, your host. Tune in for what's really happening every Thursday. That's Thursday at 9 a.m. in Studio A on Revolution Radio. They keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by healing the contradictions within your belief systems that allow you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we are meant to be, a service to others, to return to nature, and to reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So get angry, because anger is sacred, and together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
Do you love topics about history, world events, popular conspiracies, and everything under the sun, while discussing their historical context? Then welcome your host, Trinity, where no topic is off the table, truth is spoken to power, and where your voice can be heard. Here is where you can communicate openly and learn from one another, while respecting our diverse society and figuring out the truth to where we're heading. Join Trinity in a 2-hour roller coaster ride of research, comedy, and interesting content. Made with you in mind, people that matter the most. On Mondays at 12 a.m. Eastern and 11 p.m. Central, only on Revolution Radio Studio B. Be a part of a different way to hear radio.
Check in every Thursday night for the Crypt Rick and Jonathan Show.
Studio A, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the #1 listener-supported radio station, Revolution Radio.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the one place where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
All right, let's show them what we got now.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
It's Friday night. Hour number 2. We're talking about the quantum internet.
Cry for, so I justify my cry.
Somehow you found it. We're buried in the annals of the internet somewhere. Mine's Jimmy. Rocket Rio's here. Epic Journeyman's on assignment. He's probably drunk right now. He's at his nephew's wedding. This one's for you, but this bud's for you, Epic Journeyman. That kicks ass. I have to say, I don't mind chiming in and saying that kicks ass, doesn't it? Rock and Rio. That kicks ass. All right, listen. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Rock and Rio's in Florida. He's getting his swerve on down there in the 80 degree. I'm up here shivering like a chihuahua in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's damp. It's cold. But you know what, man? I persevere on. I persevere. I persevere, Rock and Rio. Are you persevering down there?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. All right, listen. We were checking out Privacy X channel. And this brother's concerned with your privacy. And he sees trouble on the horizon. And that's what we were talking about coming over here from the last hour, in case you weren't here. So we'll fill you in real quick. So it would appear that moving into the near-term future, there will be positive ID. There will be quantum internet, and everything you say can and will be used against you, and there will be no more wrongdoing at the point of positive ID. Now, will there? Some people say there'll be black markets. Maybe there will, maybe there won't. I don't know. Depends on what you want to do. You want to be a dirty-faced orphan living under the underpass, you know, passing out $100 bills from the old times, or you want to be over there in the, you know, sweet common area where everybody's over there chilling, buying shit on the internet off their phones with positive ID, you know? Yeah. You don't even have to go to
your mark.
Yeah,
get your mark.
You know what, man, dude? Let's get rid of why don't you get rid of all these shopping areas? Because a little bit later on, I found a really sweet video that I'm gonna share with everybody, and this is a dude from Romania who used to be the representative for sustainable development at the United Nations. And he's coming out dropping bombs, man. And I got to bring those to the table a little bit later. But in the meantime, Rock and Rio, unless you have a comment, let's move on to Privacy X. Are you ready?
Okay, go for it.
Here we go.
You can. Now, I recommend Linux machines because you have full control. If you happen to have a Apple machine, only use what's necessary. And if you have a Windows machine, run it over with your truck. I've talked about this at length. You do not... Windows, you're done. Windows, you're just part of the system. You know, worst case, you use Windows for your job, and you turn everything off, put it in a Faraday bag, and that's it. But if you're using Windows for personal, in about 6 months, you're going to be part of the Skynet. You're going to be one of the machines, because what they're doing is they're creating a series of machines where they can utilize that power. The power of all these devices and the addiction of all these devices, that people have these devices around them, what this does is it creates a network of machines that they can piggyback off of. I've said this for the last 3 years. AI, 5G, you've got the quantum computing systems, and then you've got the social credit score that the government is implementing. Now, you won't see in the United States a social credit score where you get scanned and you have this system where what'd you buy to eat or who'd you vote for. That system's not going to be here right now. Eventually, probably, the Chinese-style system, but that's more of what the liberals wanted. Keep in mind, under this administration, you're not going to see that type of social credit score system. What you're going to see is more on the financial side and more on the encrypted data side. Also, Freedom of speech is a great thing, but keep in mind it can also be used against you. Everything has pros and cons. There's a line, and you go on either side of that line. So the great thing about absolutionists with free speech, which I agree with, is there's pros, but the government can use that against you as cons. That's why a lot of liberals are saying don't say a word over the next 4 years. Probably smart, because they are going to get attacked. The conservatives were attacked. Now the liberals are going to be attacked. This is how these governments work. I'm not in either party because both parties are trash. They're absolute garbage. They're absolute fraudulent. They're absolutely against the people. They always have been. So you need to use the system to your advantage. You need to go out and get an encrypted hard drive. You also need to take all of your crypto, put it on a hardware wallet in the short term. If you are investing,
So see, I don't understand this hardware wallet thing. So somehow there's a way that you don't keep your crypto on Coinbase or whatever these other things where you can keep your crypto, because they have deals already set up. We talked about this last week. That's they have deals already set up where in order for them to be allowed to do what they do with the crypto, they had to agree to let the government freeze assets whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Well, it's these hardware wallets are kind of, think of them like a plug-in USB drive where you can, it's encrypted to a point where unless you enter your personal 20-digit key or whatever, you can't take it off of there. So in a way it's secure without the code. However,
how do you use it though? Because this dude,
you got to plug it into your computer to use it, right? So
it's
basically like a glorified USB drive.
So that's all it is.
So
really.
it's safe when it's not plugged in, but you still have to plug it in to access the money.
No, I get you, but so your money's on there is what I'm saying. So let's say I'm just walk me through this shit. So I have crypto. Instead of keeping it on Coinbase, I'm keeping it. I get it on my USB. How do I take now? It's on my USB. How do I take it down to the Bitcoin ATM and take money out?
Well, you got to carry your little USB with you.
And then you plug it into the ATM?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. There's
always a way around.
All right. Listen. There sounds like there's a lot to this, and I gotta say, listen to what this dude is saying, because what he's saying is he's not going to have his crypto on the internet between the end of the year. That there's some thing coming up that's going to happen, is what this dude's saying. Privacy X. I guess he has a newsletter. It's a popular newsletter. He's got like 126,000 subscribers. This video's got 7,000 views from 3 weeks ago. So 7,000 people are clued into this. I don't know if I'm cluing you into something that's, let's continue on and see what happens here.
Are somebody who invests crypto currently, over the holiday, there's going to be some big changes. I'm going to talk about in my newsletter. I can't talk about them here because I'll get my video taken down. But there's going to be some big change with the...
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Obviously, he's trying to sell a newsletter. And I'll give him that. But it doesn't matter because he's telling us this here. So you can look at...
there are changes coming. I think February.
Right.
Something that Biden signed in with the cryptocurrency is going to... I think it's like February 23rd or something. It's going to take effect.
Yeah. All right, listen. Here we go.
Over the Christmas holiday. Now, I can't tell you what to do, but I promise you that 100% of my crypto between December 21st and between January 3rd will be in hardware wallets because I don't want it confiscated. Wink, wink. You do whatever you want to do, but I would not have it on software wallets of any kind. Also, you need to understand that there's no such thing as a private software wallet. They've all been penetrated at some level, and they can all be tracked on the blockchain with the exception of a few privacy coins, of course, Monero, and a couple others, and you can use Monero to get in and out of other coins, like on Cake Wallet, which I recommend all of you have a Cake Wallet because it's going to come in handy, and have an Exodus. Cake Wallet and Exodus, all of you should have on your machine ready to use so you can port your crypto through that. I've done videos on how to do that, but you need to port your crypto through that. And now Cake Wallet actually accepts other coins, so you can have individual wallets for other coins, Bitcoin, and a few others, which helps you if you're rerouting to your hardware wallet. You need to have everything out of your name and everything ghosted next year, period, end of.
So now, hold on a second. Now see this here. So there has to be, what he's about to start talking about is on-ramp, off-ramp. And so there has to be some medium between your USB and the current system. And so what I'm gathering from what he's saying is that this Monero is one of those ways. So there's a couple of these things. Monero is one of them. And then there's a couple of these that allow you to do this, what he's talking about. And he's also saying that they're trying to eliminate that with this new legislation that's coming up, that they're not going to allow you to off-ramp your crypto onto a wallet and hold it in your hand. Your wealth will have to be up on a system. You won't be able to, it's not like you can have a safe at your house on the floor, or bury that shit in the fucking backyard, or stuff it in your wallet, in your, granny's mattress or whatever. So,
well, basically the way that Monero to say, using Bitcoin to Monero conversion works is you have your Bitcoin on the hardware wallet, right? And the Monero is kind of like an intermediary. Mm-hmm. So you can tell it, you only will allow it to, decrypt one Bitcoin as out of your 100 that you have, say. So it cannot physically or, technically remove the other 99 Bitcoins. So the idea is that the hardware wallet that's used to store those other 99 Bitcoins is not the interface that's interacting with the banking system. It's only the Monero that's interacting with the banking system. And there's a layer of privacy there.
Right.
That's kind of the idea.
Okay. So then somehow you got to get that off. See, this is the thing, is there's nothing. There's no bill. There's no coin. There's no nothing. All there is that USB drive. And somehow there's something on there, some numbers on there, or something on there that represents something that doesn't actually physically fucking exist. Okay? And you're going to put all your shit in there and put it on that on that USB. And somehow the ones and zeros on that USB, you're gonna take that and plug it in somewhere, and somehow there has to be some magic transition that happens where money comes out the other side. And I don't see money coming out the other side anymore, because once
if you think of it, it's
gets to that point,
banking now, right? I mean, the bank doesn't actually have any cash to give you; it's a number on a computer.
Exactly. So I mean, really, technically, it's already like this. We've already said, hey man, when you pay $3 at the ATM, it's to print out that $20 bill or whatever. It's the printing cost to print out that paper. Realistically, why do you listen? What's going to happen is everything's going to end up being one thing. I mean, whatever the Federal Reserve or the Treasury or whatever it ends up being in the future, whatever they call it, the Ministry of, whatever it is.
It's the whole one world government, one world religion, one world currency. Right. One world banking system.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So everybody will be on whatever they decide it's going to be, whether it's Bitcoin or Monero or whatever else, XRP. It'll be one system for everybody.
You don't need Bank of America. You don't need Wells Fargo. You don't need Shanghai Banking Corporation. You don't need any of these. You don't need...
No, all you need is the Global World Bank.
Right, because you don't go down... Does anybody go down to the bank and sit in front of the bank manager and ask for a loan for that, taco shop you want to open? or whatever. No, it's all electronic. And basically, I mean, you could just go online and get a loan right now. You don't go to no bank. The thing is all the benefits that a bank's had in the past, for some reason, anybody can just start a bank. You can go start a bank right now, Rio. You can say, hey, come on over. Just throw your money over here. Here's the Bank of Rio, you know.
Yeah, Jimmy, just stop by, put your stack of $100 bills in my safe, and I'll keep them for you.
You know what? Don't even stack $100 bills. Let me just pump ones and zeros on your ear. And let dollar bills come out of your ass. I mean, the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Once it gets to a point, what this guy's talking about, I've now moved my money into this crypto idea. Okay, so now my physical money that I had, whatever it was, I go, you know, where do you even get cash anymore? Who's giving you cash? Is anybody, you know, paying you cash to go do something? Hey, here's $50, dude, go mow my lawn. No, he's going, boop, you know, they go, what's your Venmo? Boop. Go buy some shit off Craigslist. Dude doesn't even want cash. He's just like, yeah, just pay me on, you know, PayPal. You know what I mean? It's already, we're already just one step away. But the main thing is everyone's scared because, you don't want your banking information out there. You don't want somebody to get your shit, do you? You know? Well, guess what? In the future, if they get your shit, but they can't scan your eyeball, they got nothing. They got nothing. Listen to the microcosm. It's Friday night. It's 9 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Pacific, 12 o'clock Pacific. What time is it where you are, Rock and Rio? Is it still 80 degrees?
It is 1:20 in the morning here.
Well, whatever you're listening to this, it's 1:20 in the morning.
On the East Coast.
On the East Coast. Well, I don't know. Better just, I don't know, Rio. I'm just going to get myself to go down to the local. What are they just going to have, like a Walmart style store? It doesn't have a name. It's just a store. It's called the store. You just go down there and get your commodities.
Yeah,
that's
your
what
store.
That's what they used to call it.
Company.
That's what they used to call it in the 70s when you got shit from, you know, if you were on welfare. They give you this shit called commodities. It was like a box of this shit, this cheese that didn't have to be refrigerated. So man, just go get your fresh gray jumpsuit, a box of commodities down at the local store. The company store, that is. Man, I'm starting to wonder if Trump's hand fits in that thing over there, you know, in Kazakhstan, Astana. I wonder if his, you know, that gold thing at the top of the pyramid thing. No, I think it's at the top of the.
He's got, you know, there was a big thing about.
He's got
Trump's
small
tiny
hands,
so he might be able to get it in there.
He's got small hands.
Is it going to be like the monkey with the peanuts in the jar? Will he be able to get his hand out?
No, I'm just saying. I when I first saw that, and you know, I first saw what was going on in Astana way back when, and I saw that gold. There's like a gold round tablet. It's like solid gold, and it's basically the leader of that country. It was supposed to be his hand. But I always thought it was like the magic hand hole where someday the Antichrist would come up and his hand would fit in there perfectly. And the minute he put his hand in there, it would be like, you know?
Kind of like something you'd see in a sci-fi movie.
Exactly. Or it could just be AI Jesus. I don't know. You never know.
Could be.
You never know. All right, listen. Let's go back to Privacy X. Here he comes.
Going to be able to help 40 or 50 more people. If you're already in the program, you're going to come in ahead of time. The one thing this does is it delays the inevitable a little bit. The crypto framework bill is going to go through under the new Congress. It is going to sail through.
Okay, this is coming up. So if you're politically active and you're not afraid to call your congressman and you're not going to, do anything to get yourself in trouble. Because believe me, you call up and make a prank, you'll get a visit. So, but here, don't make pranks. If you want to get politically active, listen to what is being said here and call your, respective Congress people.
Republicans are salivating over this because it gives them more control over the market. You need to understand, this is not some carte blanche where it's going to help you. The Republicans love workers and they love businesses. They do not want to mix the two. You're going to do a little better with your paycheck because they're going to lower inflation and lower the temperature. But you're not going to make a whole bunch of money if you're a worker. And businesses are going to have huge upsides, and the deep state and the liberals are going to wrap a recession around Trump's head that is disproportionately. You remember the 1920s? No, because you weren't alive. But the 2020s, just like the 1919 pandemic, 2020 pandemic, we're going into a similar situation that 2025, 2026, it's all going to fall apart when it comes to the economy and the recession, and it's going to be hung around his neck. A lot of people are saying the recession could come as early as March and April. I don't believe that whatsoever. It's probably going to come late 25, early to mid 26, but it's coming regardless. And there's nothing that he can do about it. It's already set up. All of these stocks are set to dump. You notice the stock market with no effort doubled under the last president. It's because this has been put together and put in place by the deep state. There's only 11 stocks. Largest stock market in the world. There's only 11 stocks that can control whether this goes up or down.
So I guess finding out what those 11 are is key if you're an investor. We're not giving you financial advice. This is Privacy X. He's got inside information, is what he says. Take it as you will with a grain of salt. I'm not responsible for what you do. I'm just presenting something that I found to be quite interesting, simply because it ties into exactly what we're saying. We talked last week about the dark MAGA transition team. And, I'm just saying, the Starlink's in place, Jack. The Starlink's in place. There's internet anywhere and everywhere at this point, right, Rock and Rio?
Oh, yeah.
And look at if you get
the presence of Elon with all those technologies, in the current administration is kind of intriguing.
And Elon is just
what the plan. Well, I mean, he's just a figurehead of it, but
Elon is just hanging with Trump too. Like they're calling him Elania. They're calling him Elania, like it's Trump's
Elon,
wife. Yeah. No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Technology is moving into the future, and Elon Musk is right there already. Like he's not a government, He's shooting rockets into the sky or whatever. He's got satellites in the air. Better not get smart, or one of those green laser beams might come down on your house. Unless you got a blue roof, I don't know.
This is a serious, fundamental problem, and for those of you who don't want to be literally living under a bridge and you want to partake in the largest, and I mean the largest transfer of wealth we've ever seen, you need to set yourself up. Transfer of wealth is getting ready to happen next year in 2025. The largest bull run we've ever seen. We should have had a pump this year, but they had the swap out with Biden and Harris, and that threw a monkey wrench in the system that they somehow didn't see coming. That's the only thing about the system that wasn't pre-planned. Everything else that happened is pre-planned. I'm even convinced that the attempts bing, bing, were pre-planned. And so are a lot of people who were involved. There's a lot that was pre-planned. And the reality of the situation is they gave up too easy. They knew it was going to happen. It was great for Biden. The deep state is actually
control and domination. That's the goal of all power systems.
That is, isn't it? Control and domination.
Good place, and the media isn't even. They're not necessarily congratulating him, but they're not fighting this at all. There's no civil unrest. There's no uprise yet. There's a couple things that could happen. And no, for those of you saying that Biden's going to step down and no, that's not going to happen. That does nothing. There's no value to that. All of the countries at war are already pulling back because they know who's coming back into office. You're not going to see anything happen of note in the short term over the holiday season. Now, in Congress, you will, with these bills, you will, because they can jam through their dream agenda. They can jam through a lot of the amendments from Project 2025 and some of these other things. And again, pros and cons. There's a lot of bad in that bill, especially if you're an investor, especially if you like privacy and freedom, especially if you don't want to be a wage slave for the rest of your life, especially if you want to partake in this biggest wealth transfer that we've ever seen, especially if you want to be able to actually on and off ramp crypto, because that's where they've got you. And they are tightening the noose on and off ramps. If the other person won or we had a divided government, that would be the best thing for crypto, because they wouldn't be able to tighten the noose on the on and off ramps. Most of you don't understand how bad this is for crypto. Yes, I know. Out front, strategic reserve, buy Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. It's all ETFs, guys. This is not real crypto. It's paper crypto, and it gives them carte blanche to take control of the market. Having a hardware wallet is something you need immediately. If you don't have one, get a Trezor. Here's a couple that I recommend. Get one of these, get a Trezor, get one absolutely immediately. Have an encrypted hard drive, you need that absolutely immediately. This is going to come after you. You need to put all your data, you need to wipe all of your devices consistently. Taking all of your crypto offline and putting it in your hardware wallet during those dates that I already told you is what I recommend. Look, you do what you want, but I'm telling you right now, and I'll talk more about this in next week's newsletter. When that newsletter comes out, it's going to be my best one yet. I put out some bangers, but this one will be my best one yet, and there's a lot of in-depth, detailed information. Again, there's some pros. I don't want to act like they're not, but there's some cons. Canada, you are in a lot of trouble because Trudeau and your government on both sides are fighting what Trump is trying to do. You already know my story. I put it out in last week's newsletter of some of the stuff we were dealing with Canada. Canada is...
Yeah, he's selling a newsletter, and I get it. And, it's probably good, okay? I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm saying if you're interested in what he's got to say, definitely, why wouldn't you get his newsletter? I mean,
the same old routine is coming back. However, there's going to be some fundamental differences. And with what's happening with the U.S. and China and some of the geopolitics, you're going to see a lot of the Latin American countries have some serious problems with some of their former allies. BRICS is getting all but dissolved. It's getting shelved. BRICS is done. It is completely toast now that Trump's back in office. A lot of the countries are already talking about how they're pulling back and they're going to take a step back from it because they don't want to make Trump mad and then have him basically take their lunch, which is exactly what he would do. So it's a very smart move by these countries stepping out of BRICS for now. They might pick it up or reconvene in 2029, but for right now, it's cooked. You need to prepare for what is happening with this. Also, AI is a very scary prospect. And with Musk in there, he's going to put some guardrails on AI, which is...
So, let me back that up for a second. Hang on a second. Let me back that up. Hang on. Stand by. Listen.
Shelf, BRICS is done. It is completely toast now.
Okay, so he's saying BRICS is done because Trump is in.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that.
And I don't either necessarily, but at the same time, Russia has gotten some extreme pressure on their economy, and the ruble is crashed, and so Russia is tied up with this whole hole in their situation with having to deal with this warring situation. And so now their money's almost worthless.
Well, all they have to do is because Russia, China, and Brazil, and the other countries that are involved in that. All they have to do is say, look, we're not using dollars anymore, too. We're going to use our new BRIC currency, and we're going to level the playing field.
Well, check this
out.
out.
And what are you going to do about it?
Well, what they're going to do about it is...
That's why I don't think BRICS is done. I think this is a move to make the change.
No, I don't think BRICS is done, because the whole thing around the BRICS was they were moving into this new... They were going to utilize this Bitcoin idea. The BRICS was going to be like that, like your resources. And we're going to be talking about that in the third hour when I bring this whistleblower from Romania who is in charge of the Sustainable Development team for the United Nations for Romania. He's going to talk about some of this shit. But the point is that BRICS was going to be this alternative to the current system. But if you look into China right now, there's a major problem with China right now. So China is the C, in BRICS, and the R in BRICS, their economy is collapsing. And so Brazil, I'm not really sure what's going on over there. India, what's going on over there? I don't know. But so far, out of these letters, I see at least 2 or 3 of them got problems. So, and countries that were signing on to it now see that there's a potential for a new sort of American version of that, which would be, involving cryptocurrencies and this quantum computing and everything. And there you see the players are in place to institute something just like that, right? Musk is there. The world could, they could roll out, because didn't Trump say America was going to be, I don't know what the quote was. He says, first he was against it, and then all of a sudden he came out and said, America's going to be the #1 digital currency capital of the world, or some shit like this. I don't know. I'm loosely remembering whatever it was. It's late on Friday.
Where you get the doggy coin and the doggy department together, right? The government efficiency. Think about that. It's Department of Government Efficiency. What's the most efficient thing the government wants to do is how to take your money.
No, but they want to get
if they make the doggy coin part of the doggy government efficiency, then
the first thing the government's gonna do, the first thing they want to do will be to save money. In order to save money, what they got to do? They got to roll heads, dude. They got to chop dead wood, get rid of it. And they're going to say whole groups of people sitting at these outdated computers in these offices and cubicles, thousands of government workers doing what? Nothing compared to the availability of these tools that are there now. So you could virtually, he's probably sitting there going, you know what? I could literally get rid of this whole fucking Department of Education and put it all into this one thing.
This one AI to rule them all.
Exactly, right? Dude. Exactly. All right, let's finish up with Privacy X, and then we'll get to this Romanian whistleblower.
Trump's back in office. A lot of the countries are already talking about how they're pulling back and they're going to take a step back from it because they don't want to make Trump mad and then have him basically take their lunch, which is exactly what he would do. So it's a very smart move by these countries stepping out of BRICS for now. They might pick it up or reconvene in 2029, but for right now, it's cooked. You need to prepare for what is happening with this. Also, AI is a very scary prospect. And with Musk in there, he's going to put some guardrails on AI, which is good. And I do like that aspect. He was one of the founders of OpenAI, and they basically stole it from him and did for profit. He can come after OpenAI. He can help with some guardrails. That's fine, I guess. But there's a lot of negative sides to this as well. And AI is going to go full speed and full throttle. Trump's on board for the AI. Project 2025 is on board for the AI. Musk is on board for the AI. So none of these things are changing. The surveillance state is not changing. Trump still hates Edward Snowden because he's for surveillance and some of these other things. Trump is for strongman, and Trump is for control. And so keep that in mind. Yes, there's some good things for the economy and a couple other little things like that, and I think that's fantastic. I'm not against that. I think the stuff he's going to do with immigration is fantastic. But the flip side is, in some ways, you will have less privacy, less digital security, especially once Project 2025 goes through. And that is going to be a fundamental issue for a lot of you, especially in the crypto space. Now, if you're in the crypto ETF space like an idiot, him getting in was a great option for you. But if you're in real crypto, decentralized peer-to-peer, this is not a good thing. This is actually a very bad thing. And the mandate from the Project 2025 crowd and the Musk crowd and the AI crowd is to go
See that guy? That used to be me.
Mental problem. Now, they can't crack it as of now, but they want to go after those kind of things because they don't believe in privacy and digital security at all. Now, I'm not saying the other side did. Neither side does. So it's still a fundamental problem. I've been getting these questions just blasted at me, so I'm trying to answer some of the biggest ones. Now, on top of those three things that I already said you need, the other thing you need is you need to understand that AI can unwind most passwords. So you need to keep all of your passwords encrypted, and you need to make your passwords typically 21 characters or better, and they need to be passphrases. Is going to help you out greatly, and in using random series of numbers, symbols, uppercase, lowercase, utilizing these type of passphrases or long form is going to be very important. Typically, the more the better. So 21 is the bare minimum. If you have any passwords that are under 21 characters, change your password. Also, get in the habit of changing all passwords monthly, because these new systems basically are trying passwords indefinitely until they crack them. I mean, cracking passwords has never been easier. So make sure they're 21 characters or longer. I've been talking to a lot of people in let's just call them cyberspace. Yeah, I can't say what agency, but most of them are in Europe that I've been talking to, and that seems to be the number of characters that takes them at least a year on average to crack, minus getting lucky. So at 21 characters, you're pretty good, but longer than that would even be better. A lot of you will have 10 or 12 character passwords. Those are not good enough anymore. Those can be cracked incredibly fast. Even if you've got a whole series of different characters, symbols, and numbers and letters, it does not matter. Those are cracked too quick. So count how many characters your passwords are and make sure they're 21 or greater. Another thing that all of you can do immediately right now is change your if you have your real name on anything, change it right now. If it's on an Apple ID, if it's on an email, come up with fake everything. And worst case, if your name is Chad or your name is Jennifer and your last name is whatever your last name, at least change the last name. That is the most important part. But ideally, change the whole thing. That way it's not on anything. Any login IDs, any emails, any accounts for other companies, everything changed completely. The next thing you want to do is make sure moving forward, I only use a business credit card. I do not recommend having your personal information in the financial institutes because, again, in Project 2025 and in the Surveillance Act, in the Patriot Act, and also in 3 other quote-unquote acts that help people, all of these acts that help people, save people, that are anti-terror, that are anti all of these situations, they allow tracking. And so you want to make sure that you're not part of the bank tracking. They're putting codes next to what you purchased. They're already doing this in Europe with Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and several other vendors over there. They're going to be doing this in the United States in 2025. And yes, your current president and your future president are both for this. This is what I'm telling you. It's one bird. So most of the things are shockingly similar. So make sure you're using a business credit card through your ghost business. Do not use one in your personal name because credit cards are their money and they can track it. Debit cards are your money, so you still have some rights and freedoms if it's your money. But with credit cards, in 2023, you lost all those rights, all those freedoms. And yes, this is a bill that the Republicans had on the books in 2020 or 2017. So both sides of the bird have been all about this. There is no reversing this, and it's going to get jammed through now when it's a full red House and Senate with the president will sign it immediately. So those are a few things you need right away. If you haven't already, check out my newsletter and check out the first link down below so you can ghost yourself because this is becoming a very serious problem. And, you know, again, For your everyday economics, you're going to have some benefits, and I'm happy for you for that. But for your privacy and security, Project 2025 does a lot of damage. I need you to understand that. And there's some other programs in here that do a lot of damage if you're in crypto, because it gives a lot of power to these big companies and less power for the on and off ramps like you and me. Coinbase is not actually happy with this. Crypto.com is not happy with this. Binance is not happy with this, because they know they lose a lot of power in the industry, and it gets given to these big industries with the ETFs. They're going to have to start onboarding.
So there he goes, man. Ghost yourself over there on his channel, Privacy X, if you want to check that out. Rockario, did you ever come up with that Australian positive ID story?
Oh, yeah, I did. I had it open here.
Sweet.
I think I might have actually closed it in the meantime now.
Well, here. You look for it. What's the number?
718-618-9905.
718-618-9905 is the number to call. Let us know what you think about this. Man, Ronnie James Dio. It's like he's the epitome of the rocker. You know? That, you know, the Keystone, Palo Alto, Big Bob. They promoted shows here and there. And they did one year, they did a show at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds. And it was Ronnie James Dio.
Was it him or was it the hologram?
No, it was him. It was him. There, you know, they had. You ever seen? You know how they used to have those wooden skate ramps that look like a giant U shape. You know, and so the guy that was doing the show, it was called Rocking Horse Productions. And so it was this whole thing. It was like this, you know, Ronnie James Dio. Oh, you know what? It was Ronnie James Dio, White Snake, and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Ronnie James Dio was headlining. But anyways, the point is, like, during the day, they had this skate ramp. And these guys were skating on the skate ramp. And one of the dudes who was on there, his skateboard flew off the end. He fell off and skateboard shot off the end of the thing and went up in the air. And came down on someone's skull. And basically chopped their head. And I know. It's literally, it's unbelievable, man. You know what I mean? Like, what are the odds? Remember that show, Dead Like Me? It was on HBO.
Right.
It was about the girl who was like, she was walking down the street and something happened, and I think a meteor came in and exploded a portable toilet, and the toilet seat came down and smashed her in the head, and that's how she died. Some shit like that, like unbelievable.
Yeah, I kind of remember something bizarre like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was a good one. But anyways, yeah. So it was random, but I remember that, man, when Dio was on stage, and it was like, we were promoting the show. I wasn't working security or anything, but I was walking. I was like in front of the stage, between the barrier and the stage when Dio was on there. And this was back in the day when I used to drink. I was walking around with a beer and shit. And these dudes are like smashed up against the fucking front of the barriers and shit, They're just like smashed up there. They're just, and their arms are like reaching out to me because I had this beer, There's no way you could leave that spot and go get yourself a beer. There's like, dude, they were begging for that beer, man. I have to admit, I did give him the beer, but you know what I mean? It was crazy, man. I think that was the last show that Rocking Horse Productions ever did. They got sued for that incident. That's probably the last skateboarding incident that ever happened. They probably never did that again. Don't do that again. All right, Rockario, did you find the positive ID situation over there?
I did.
All right.
So the claim that you will need to have the digital ID to get online is currently not true.
Not true.
It appears that they were going to be rolling it out and offering it as an option. They say basically it's gonna, it's like the eyeball scanner or whatever. Or your real ID driver's license that you're gonna need soon here in the U.S. to be able to do certain things, but as opposed to having to, every time you go down to DMV, bring your birth certificate and your credit card and your last water bill and your tax payment and all this other stuff. Once you have that digital ID, you can just say, "Oh, look here, scan my eyeball." You can prove it's me.
That's what I'm saying, man. Listen, every single time
they're in the rollout phase, right? It's not mandatory yet. Maybe 5 years down the road.
Every single time
we had this collapse, and everybody's got to get on this system now. That 70% of the population's on it. The other 30% got to just we're going to start doing it. So you guys, that's how they're going to do it, right? They're going to roll it in slow.
Man, I'm just telling you right now. Every single time I go to the grocery store or the gas station, and I got to sit there and enter in my password. Every single time I'm sitting there doing it, I'm thinking to myself, why is this shit so labor intensive? Why am I doing everything? You know what I'm saying? I go to the grocery store. If I want somebody else to do it, okay. If I want service, I want somebody else to do it, I gotta stand in line over there. And I gotta sit there and I gotta wait. Because people over here where they stand in line, these are the money people. These are the people with baskets chock full of shit. So, you're popping in there for a quick whatever it is, this and that's that you need. But you're standing behind all these people. So guess what? You've been psychologically funneled over here to the self-service aisle where there's nobody. Okay? Well, there used to be nobody. Now there's a shitload of other people just like you that are all over there too. But here's the thing. When you go there, Bria, I'm just saying, why don't you get a discount? In other words, if you're eliminating the overhead of the checker by having robots or self-checkouts, why aren't we getting a discount if we're going over there and we're fucking doing all the work?
because there's still investors that have to get paid, right? So, and it's a way for them to increase their profit margin.
You know what, man? We should go on strike and say F your self-services and everybody just mob onto the checkers, man. Everybody just stand in line. Like, yeah, remember? It's last in line. Stand in line over there, man. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
But you know what's going to happen is you're going to have you'd have your ice cream in your shopping cart, and you're going to be 30 people back in line, and there's going to be that empty self-checkout over there. Nobody's going to stand in line.
That's not what's going to happen.
Because they're not going to want to.
No, dude,
People are too impatient for a protest of that nature.
They're not going to protest. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go down and they're going to get themselves a pair of them glasses. And so when I fucking look at something at the store, if I look at it and then I focus my pupil on the price tag, it's going to go. And I just throw that shit in my basket.
You just walk out the front of the door and pick up your bag on the way out, right?
No bag. I just put it in I just put it in my backpack because I looked at it and then I scanned it and then boop. You know, because you got the glasses on.
They're already working on stuff like that here. The smart shopping carts. You just every item you put in the cart, it just rings up a tally for you. You just walk out the door with the cart.
Exactamundo, man. That's what I'm talking about. So eliminate all these dirty transactions and passwords and all this. Get rid of the work part of it. But see, then now when you've gotten there, once you've reached that point, why even have a fucking store? Why don't you just do it from your house and just have everybody just, these little vans running around. Boop, 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 boop. You just stay in the house like that guy was talking about in the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's going now, I mean, when I go into the local shop, right, to buy my groceries, there's, I don't know, probably a dozen other people that actually work for ShopRite picking those online orders up and packaging them and whatever. And then there's drivers that just drop them off. Or you can have, a DoorDash guy or whatever, Uber Eats or something like that, pick it up. You don't ever have to leave your house. You can pick what you want. Somebody will go shop it for you. Somebody else will deliver it to you. It don't cost you really much. I mean, I think the delivery costs you a little bit, but, if your time is that valuable to you or your laziness is that valuable to you, then, an extra $10 to get your groceries, who cares, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why even leave? Why even leave the house if you don't have to? I don't know. All right, listen, we're going to be right back.
listening to Revolution Radio.
Are you interested in the paranormal, murder mystery, real natural law? Do you enjoy interviews with amazing guests? Then join Crypt Rick every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Revolution Radio. Studio A, freedomslips.com. Crypt Rick's High Banquet. Welcome to the Crypt.
It is no secret that the so-called mainstream media is best described as controlled propaganda. Countless news stories are either totally ignored or spun with half-truths, and because of this, essential facts and vital information are often compromised. Join Dr. Ott every Friday night on Studio B at 10 p.m. Eastern and learn why The Story Behind the Story was nominated for a Peabody Award in its second year of producing unparalleled broadcasting excellence in 1997. That is, if you really care about learning the truth.
Do you love topics about history, world events, popular conspiracies, and everything under the sun, while discussing their historical context? Then welcome your host Trinity, where no topic is off the table, truth is spoken to power, and where your voice can be heard. Here is where you can communicate openly and learn from one another, while respecting our diverse society and figuring out the truth to where we're heading. Join Trinity in a 2-hour roller coaster ride of research, comedy, and interesting content, made with you in mind, people that matter the most. On Mondays at 12 a.m. Eastern and 11 p.m. Central, only on Revolution Radio Studio B. Be a part of a different way to hear radio.
If you're sick of the lies and ready to know thyself, to love thyself, well then tune in to the Loveolution with your hosts, Amy and John Paul, where we speak all about truth, love, and freedom every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on Revolution Radio. And remember, only you can free your mind control. Be a Loveolutionary.
Interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this important broadcasting announcement.
Now is the time to explore your greatest potential, embracing truth, health, and wellness while discarding the system and exposing its corruption. Experience true freedom every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live from Studio B. It's the Jonathan Wright Show.
Find it right here at revolution.radio.
We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more... Be quiet. I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look. It's just a flesh wound.
I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, and stupidity.
I'll do you for that. Oh, what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Roundtable Live, Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your mind, bring your ideas, bring your voice. King Arthur had nothing on us. Here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com.
Thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
It's Friday night, Saturday morning. It's Revolution Radio. It's Freedom Slips. And we're talking about...
Every time I hear that ad for that Trinity show, I think of that bit that you play with the Q going down the rabbit hole with them girls, because it's got that same music in the background and her voice just kind of sounds like that.
That's a good show, Yeah. Yeah, no,
I know,
dude,
it's just funny. Like, every time I hear that, it brings me back to that other bit.
Yeah. Hey, enough is enough already, Rowdy. Yeah, it's nothing personal. Yeah, it's not about that. It's nothing personal, man. Just don't do it. Not with you or anybody else. So it's nothing personal. Anyways, hey, yeah, so listen. Got this piece with the hey, can you turn your mic down just a little?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. So I got this piece here. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can dig this up. Here we go. This is it, I think, here. Yes, down by... I'm going to have to run this for a second.
Why the U.S. Safety Commission?
I've got to talk over this because I can't skip through this stuff on here for some reason. But anyways, this is like I said, this is this sustainable development representative for stand by. Okay, so this is the sustainable development representative for Romania that was in the UN, and he's coming to the table with some stuff. And so we'll be able to fast forward through some of this, but let's just get the ball rolling. That was dramatic. Now, I've never heard of the International Crimes Investigative Committee, the ICIC. Have you ever heard of this, Rock and Rio? The ICIC?
No, I don't think I have.
Me neither. Me neither. All right, listen.
Is that a UN thing?
I don't know. He's doing good work. Whatever it is, I like the cut of their jib. Now, I just want to say, man, there was a lot of hours spent in the alternative media, as small as the alternative media was at that time. In the beginning, the Agenda 2021. Remember that? Agenda 21. Agenda 21, man. Dude, no, it's Agenda 21. No, it's Agenda 25 now. 2025. No, it's Agenda 2030 now, right? It's 2030. So who knows?
Well, I think 2021 turned into 2030.
Exactly.
I think 25 is kind of something they added as a midpoint.
All the same shit they wanted in 2021. They still want. And they're going to continue to want.
And more now.
Exactly. Exactamundo. Okay, so now, that in mind, this dude who's about to come to the table right now, he was around for the Agenda 21 thing. And now he's out of it. and he's dropping bombs.
Welcome to another session of the International Crimes Investigative Committee. Today we will take a closer look at the United Nations, which many people are aware of, that they are supposed to become the one world government as proclaimed in the Great Reset. So what is the United Nations about, and who do we talk to? Well, our interview partner is a former high-ranking member of the United Nations. His name is Călin Georgescu. It is best to talk to someone who knows from personal experience what he's talking about, rather than to talk to someone who just has ideas about what is going on inside the United Nations.
Well, I serve this institution 17 years, almost 18. I started in Romania, in the United Nations Development Program, which gave to me the chance to understand, first of all, the system. I was director to coordinate the Romanian National Sustainable Development Strategy and Local Agenda 21, which I did for almost 40 counties in Romania. I arrived to different, let's say, events in New York and after that in Geneva, in many other countries, and I arrived also in the board for Europe in the United Nations Environmental Program. I had a chance to have many meetings, many interviews, and particularly to understand how is running this system. But I had a chance to arrive, let's say, to the key people to understand how can work this train. I was absolutely sure that United Nations is a fantastic institution which can help the people and the welfare and the human being, and to be a good life, to have a good life, and everything to be in harmony with the nature. Because this is my background, environmental protection. So based on my background, of course, I arrived to United Nations, and I arrived to be, let's say, call it a specialist in sustainable development. But later on, of course, I find how, in fact, the things are moving. Because particularly when you are going in the field, you find the reality. The reality is not from the office, not from the newspaper, not from the TV. It's from the ground. In the ground, I find that the most important part of the game, that the nature, the gods, the universe, give to us everything we want. Everything. So he can cover all our needs, but it's impossible to cover our greed. And the greed is not from the majority of the people. The greed is coming from a small part of the people. The main important cause is the oligarch, the world oligarch system.
Okay, here we go. So I wanted to let that roll just so you can get some background. So this guy's, just so you know, this guy's no lightweight, right? So this guy's been on the inside, so he knows what's going on. Rock and real. You're still there?
I am.
Okay. So, like I say, there we go. That's the opening. Now we've gotten into the oligarchs. And this seems like this word oligarch seems to pop up all the time around all this shit. Now it turns out he's saying the oligarchs are the ones that are in control of the UN, and that the WEF, the World Economic Forum, is actually controlling the United Nations, and they're supported 100% of the agenda of the World Economic Forum. And we're going to get into it. And he's about, listen, I'll tell you one thing. There is a portion of this interview where this Romanian dude is going to use the N-word. All right, so he's using it, and he's not using it in a context of trying to be derogatory. He's using it in the context of speaking about Malcolm X and a particular speech that Malcolm X had given, a talk. And and it's not only that, but what's interesting is he's also referencing a talk that we've brought to the table many times on this show. And so he's going to get into that, and don't be offended if it slips by me. and it gets out there. There it is.
They the one who control?
They want to have the control. And for this reason, UN, it's the platform, the bridge for the oligarchy system to control.
And the oligarchs are the ones who gather once a year in Davos, the members of the World Economic Forum?
Of course, this UN platform for 2030 with Davos agenda.
There's a bunch of text going by, and it's going to involve the entire world. Oh, man. I'm sorry, radio listeners.
UN was set up in 1945 with one simple purpose, to keep the peace. What a fantastic purpose. The problem is not this. The problem is that in different meetings, which I participate myself, I have seen the piece very small, like a Cinderella in a corner. And she wait to have a chance to speak. And she never had this chance. She's waiting, she's waiting, she's waiting. And in fact, all the discussions, they were for war. But they don't say war.
And why is that?
It was very manipulated.
Yes, everything stood on its head, right?
Exactly. And
when they say peace, they mean war. When they say justice, they mean injustice.
This is a point. Exactly like in sustainable development. I have been to most of the meetings, and official and unofficial, and negotiation. I can tell you how is the results. The results is that in the end of the day, is just one conclusion: how we can increase the consuming.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. This gets me. Rockario. At the end of the day, there is one conclusion. How can we increase the consuming? In other words, they're not interested in you being concerned. They want you to consume as much as possible. Yet they're mad at you for consuming. And they tax you and make you pay for it. Man, what a racket. Dude. What a racket.
And sometimes, of course, many of the events, the most important is the gala dinner, how we can arrive to the food. So to increase only the consuming side, it's very dangerous. Because in fact, this was exactly the same situation with the Club of Rome, another important NGO.
And you were also a member of the Club of Rome.
And also I was the president for Europe of the Club of Rome for
the president of the Club of Rome for Europe.
Almost 2.5 years in Vienna, in Austria.
And you encountered the same problem there.
Exactly, because they approach this vision that it's a limit. I mean, they find at the time that we are going too fast and too dangerous.
Exploiting the resources of the planet.
Yes, but in what sense? In a sense of greed. One is to exploit the natural resources, for example, in Ghana or in Guinea-Conakry. Why I say Guinea-Conakry? Because Guinea-Conakry, as I have seen myself in all the planet I have been, is one of the most richest country in the world. And it's very small. Very small, but it's fantastic rich.
I had no idea.
Fantastic. The best top of gold and other natural resources that are in Guinea-Conakry. So Guinea-Conakry, if they want to exploit the natural resources for themselves, this is fine. But if there are coming others from outside, this is a problem. So here we are with a natural resources exploitation. Because majority of the countries in the world, they have no control for their own natural resources. It's exactly the system controlled by Davos particularly, with the same agenda as UN, exactly as I told you. And they control the natural resources. And people on the power, because I cannot say leaders, because it doesn't exist political leaders. People which they have the power, they are their employees. The world oligarchic system, they have the power on Europe because they control all the people like Bundeskanzler or president or prime minister or whatever there are. because they are not the employee of their people.
They work for the other side.
Exactly.
They work for the oligarchs.
They are employees of the oligarchs.
The employees of the oligarchs. All right. Rock and Rio, you there?
I am here.
Excellent. Now, so he's about to get into this, but there's an ad coming up, and I can't do anything about it, man. So we got to sit here and wait. But anyhow, yeah. So what do you think about this, man? This whistleblower, the president of the Club of 300.
I think he's on to something here, that's for sure.
He's about to, yeah. All right, good.
Yeah, it's kind of, I want to kind of hear where he's going to go with it, but
okay.
We know that the setup is what it is, right? It's been that way for years.
It is. It has. Klaus Schwab eats the bugs. All right, hang on. They're just showing all these people, who are young leaders in the WEF or whatever. You know what I mean? S90, if you want to come on, you can give us a call. S90.
What you're saying is that the UN is now indistinguishable from the World Economic Forum, or Davos in short, because it is being controlled by the same ideas and the same oligarchs.
Totally. 100%. Totally.
And the World Economic Forum, in turn, creates their leaders who are then going to be elected by us through their Young Global Leaders program.
This is a point. In general, in United Nations, there are coming people which they check before if they are politically correct. But you have to be 100% totally correct, totally politically correct. If you are not, you cannot be in. They try to control you by salary,
paying you a lot of money.
By different offers. In a sense that you have free access to the transport, free access to the restaurants, free access to different things. And in fact, it's a badge. UN badge does mean that you are someone important in compared with the people from the street.
Oh.
This, I mean.
So they make you feel not just richer than the people on the streets, but superior to them.
Exactly like in the banking system. Look to the young people who there are employees in the bank. He, in his car, he can see on the street his friend. I said, sorry, I have no time for you. I'm someone. I'm the banker. So they invest in manipulate the mind of the people. And in the moment when you manipulate the mind of the people, they sell their soul.
So even though if they may have started out with good intentions, they choose people who, as you said, are completely in line and are willing to sell their souls.
Correct. Exactly. They don't like to you or to your life to be beautiful, to be harmony. They like just the black. You have to be under control. With other words, Darwin said to us that we are coming from animals. The new Darwins,
the descendants of monkeys.
The new Darwins, they said they are coming from robots. And here we are. I mean, we discuss about the transhumanist process, which those people, they want to impose. And how they can impose. They impose it when the people totally believe that this system internationally, which is somewhere high from you, take care about you. And only if what they are saying you have to respect, which is wrong. As they are trying to push us to dictate everything about our health. How can be someone to dictate about me?
And that's another NGO. That's the World Health Organization. It's just another NGO. No one there was elected by anyone.
No, they are just nominate.
Yes.
They are nominate in general the people who they are totally slave in their mind.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can find why someone like Tedros, who in his own country has committed crimes, why this man becomes the chairman of the World Health Organization. Only because no one elected him, but he's nominated.
You know what? I met him in Geneva for a meeting, and he was exactly the definition of the slave. In the year of 60, was the great legend in United States, Malcolm X. Malcolm X.
All right. N-word alert. No offense intended. I'm sure is not meant by any offense.
X was the leader against the slavery,
Mhm.
remember? And
He was the leader of the Black Panther movement, I believe.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And he was assassinated, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same situation as with Kennedy. Because he said house nigger and field nigger. The house nigger, what does mean this?
The Uncle Tom.
Exactly. He said we, all the time is we. We does mean you, a slave, together with your boss.
Mhm.
And you are we. You don't say my boss, you said we.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is part of the system, house nigger. Which does mean the slave who is totally dedicated to the boss, even that is Brussels or is Washington, European Union, whatever. It's the same. And the field nigger, the people which they don't want their country to be a field for others. And here is the main important point, Rainer, that the majority of the humanity, people, they understand that what Davos said, that the control is about the financial and banking system. The powerful is where are the natural resources. Look in Africa, it's a continent which I know quite very, very well. I spent almost 8 years in different missions and other things like this. So Africa is probably the most beautiful part of the world. And doesn't exist free country there. I mean, Guinea-Conakry can be, how I can say, the pearl, can be the gold lingo bar of the planet. Small, beautiful, fantastic, full of natural resources. Do you understand? Full. Full does mean full. And the people that are on the street with the device in the front and play games.
Hey, so S90 was trying to get you to add him. I don't know what happened. He's got a different icon on there, so I didn't recognize him at first. But there's that's a big shield, a big pill to chew on right there. When you say, I mean, it's this is almost like that guy Yuri Brezhnev in a way. Kind of reminds me of that. You there? No? All right.
What happened?
Brainwash, all of them. They control exactly the presidency institution and the people that are the slaves. In fact, the slavery didn't disappear, as those people said. It's most powerful as never.
Only in a different sense.
The door of the slavery, which we know from history, was Dakar in Senegal.
Yeah.
Is now all the continent of Africa. There are doors and doors and doors and doors for slavery.
But the slaveholders are now different. In effect, it's the oligarchs who control the UN.
It's the same. I mean, for this reason, doesn't exist correct political campaign. They put exactly the person who they...
No real elections anymore.
No, doesn't exist election. It's just on the paper. Because they know how they control this. And how can manipulate the mind of the people to vote exactly what they want. Donald Trump was a big shock.
They didn't expect that to happen. That was an accident, I suppose.
Absolutely an accident.
Not part of their game plan.
It was the first time of the oligarchy system was happened an accident. Because normally it have to be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the process which we are dealing now with this pandemic and all these liars was supposed to be in 2016.
They were pushed into
exactly
early
in a
start.
sense to be in 2020 to be a disaster regarding food and water.
Ah, I see.
Which normally they want to arrive in 2025 now. Of course they will not succeed, this is clear. The system is almost down. Of course, there are the last moments and we have to have the courage now, all of us, to say no. For me, the most important piece of this game, Rainer, is that what I have seen in UN to my colleagues, is they don't have the power to say no, because they know that in the end of the month is someone who push a button and in his bank account there are coming few $1,000s.
So it's all about money.
It's all about money. Money, money, money.
Was there a particular incident that made you decide I have to get out of here?
The
or was it a
incident,
slow process?
Well, of course, was step by step. But the most important one was my last mission in Marshall Islands, where I have seen probably the most beautiful part of the world. And I have seen how a disaster was made by United States with the...
Oh, man. Please, man. Please.
exercise of the atomic bombs in 1960, which they destroyed totally most part of the archipelagos in Marshall Islands.
You told me they destroyed the entire tuna fish population.
The tuna fish, and yeah, because it's totally affected by the nuclear things, and you cannot...
By the radiation.
It's not exactly by the radiation. You cannot clean like you clean the house.
Yeah.
It's not possible, this. But the most important was affected this paradise. With people, they didn't know that what exists the Second War. They didn't know that exist doctors.
And they didn't need any.
Yeah, because they simply, and the average was 180 years old, 200 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and now the average is 35, 40 years old.
The average age of when they died was
180, 200.
Oh my God.
This exactly. And now the average is 40, 45. No more, because to the radiation. The most important part was that in the moment when I arrived with the report in Geneva, back on the mission, they did everything, again, everything was possible to stop me to present this report. And including that they canceled my press conference. With a respect for the people who I met in Marshall Islands, I'm speaking, of course, the local people, I quit it. I decided to leave forever. It was a point of consciousness, plug off matrix. This was done from me, in a sense that UN can have the fantastic role, but is not, because it's totally under control of the oligarchs. And they try to push so hard this situation that I find in many cases that the people which they assume that are the employees, I mean, from top to the down or whatever, there are absolutely ridiculous slaves, in a sense that nobody can has the power to say no.
Nobody has the power to say no, Rock and Real. Better get in line, Sonny. Scan that eyeball right away. Don't play games. Are you still there, bro? Rock and Rio. Are you there? I do not hear you. I just hear the white noise or whatever that is. I'm not hearing you. All right, we'll go back to this here.
First of all, you can travel of business class everywhere, and you have all the privilege.
And you don't even have to pay for that? I mean, if you travel business on a plane, you have to pay for it?
No, everything is paid by UN, of course. It's not by me, in fact. I don't pay anything, in fact.
So it is basically the taxpayers of the world who pay for this, without even knowing it.
Yeah, and in fact, the money, they are coming from the country because it's a contribution for each country.
For each member state.
For each member state. Each member state make a contribution, of course. The future of humanity have to be the free men.
Sovereign people who realize that they have their own personal sovereignty.
And to respect the sovereignty of the person, of the human being.
We have the UN, which could have been a great institution, but it was totally captured by the oligarchs who are running the show at the World Economic Forum.
Exactly like Club of Rome, exactly like WWF, exactly like Greenpeace. And we can have many examples like that.
Pretty much all of the NGOs, I would say.
Pretty much the biggest one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that NGO, by definition, no, non-governmental organization, which does mean the grassroots, the needs of the society, of the community, sorry.
That's what it should be.
Should be. But this was immediately
taken over by the oligarchs.
Exactly, and they...
So when we think that they're doing whatever they're doing for the good of the people, in reality, they're doing it for the oligarchs because they run the show. So when we think that they're doing whatever they're doing for the good of the people, in reality, they're doing it for the oligarchs because they run the show.
Also, another NGO give money to another one. They support different other NGOs, but it's a very, very professional manipulation. Very professional, very smart, very intelligent. Just a line, very, very soft. You don't understand that you are part of the system.
It's another microcosm. My name's Jimmy. It's Revolution Radio. And I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. Don't forget, fully listener supported. So come on down and become supporters of the free speech that dwells in the house that Nighthawk built. So we are checking in with this whistleblower from Romania, who was the Sustainable Development Representative for the UN. He's been the president of the Club of Rome, and so on and so forth. So we're just checking in with that, and we appreciate you being here. Don't forget, we're fully listener supported, so come on down and become supporters.
If the people, they understand what does mean the life today, all the governments, they disappear. They don't understand the life because the life is not what we know today. For example, we are in the house, we wake up, we go to the job, we are going, our boss say that we are going to another country, we take a hotel, we take the plane. This is not the life. The life is totally different. The life is how we can approach the nature, how much we are staying with us, how much you talk with yourself, how much time you spend in one day just for you, only you. In the moment when you spend more time with you are more creative, more elegant, with your family, with your wife, with your children. The harmony is important, exactly like in the nature.
So what you're saying is when people talk about spending quality time with their children, what we should really talk about is having a quality life, not just a carved out niche, but a quality life. And that must be totally disconnected from these global corporations and
does not mean that you are going to the mall with your children and with your wife to see a movie and to eat sushi. Not. And, by the way, to believe that you are going in holiday. Please try to understand what does mean this term. We are going in holiday. This is wrong. And exactly this is a manipulation. With the money in the pocket, I'm going in Caribbean, in Madagascar. But normally, holiday have to be each day. And in fact, doesn't have to exist, the terms holiday. Because the life is a presence of holiday. We have to enjoy. We don't know to enjoy the life right now.
Yes.
They are very carefully for you to don't enjoy the life. Because the moment when you enjoy the life, you are in the wrong direction for them. You don't have to have emotions. With other words, you don't have to have love. In the moment when you have love, which is the most powerful thing which the universe gives to us, you are not for them. You are someone wrong. And you have to be quiet immediately. So you have to be just robot, to respect and to work for what they are looking for.
For them, in effect.
For them. In fact, the majority of the people, they are working for them. This is a problem. They are not working for their self. They are not working for their own country. For this reason, this is so much poverty, which number one in the Millennium Objectives is to eradicate the poverty. This is absolutely bullshit, because they don't respect anything from that. The poverty is much bigger than ever. The disaster of the school, it's much bigger than ever.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. Sorry. Stand by. Here we go.
With the school. Because in school, in the moment when you are not free and you are just educated to be robot, you are in their hands. And you cannot be free because you respect exactly the system. I want to underline again this point. We don't know what does mean the life. And this exactly they are looking for. Even, for example, your job, you're a lawyer. Normally, you defend a man to another one, which in the normal life, like in Marshall Islands, this doesn't exist.
Because you don't need a system of rules for justice.
Exactly. My report with you is to understand how I can increase my consciousness. And how I can participate with my consciousness to the consciousness of the universe. So for this reason, doesn't exist lawyers normally.
Or politicians.
Politicians. In general, who is going now in politics is someone who doesn't know anything.
Yes.
He has any job. If you ask him what you are doing.
Now, this is basically true for all the politicians that were elected over the last 30 years, I should say. Before that, that may have been different. But ever since they started their Young Global Leaders program and the influence of the World Economic Forum over the UN, which is now obviously, as you're saying, totally under the control of the world, indistinguishable from the oligarchs, this influence has made it possible for them to infiltrate all layers of society with their own people.
This is correct. Absolutely.
With their puppets.
This, of course, this doesn't mean that we have to leave the situation like that. We have to have courage and to change. Yes, we have to be involved in politics, because this is a situation now which the position with who we can change. The humanity today has a big chance with this situation, because it's a chance for us to wake up. It's a chance to reconsider our life as was done by Creator for us, for each of us, from the beginning of the humanity. Fiction. And we are definitely in the wrong direction. We have to stop. Otherwise, it's a disaster. They arrive to the climate change, they arrive to the carbon credit, things which doesn't exist.
And this is all about money.
It's not a manipulation.
Because through the ICCP, they're creating more money out of nothing for themselves, simply by lying to the people about climate change, which doesn't exist. Yes. I'm not saying this because this is what I think, but it's because the founder of Greenpeace, he holds several degrees, one of them in biology, I think, and he explained to us in great detail that climate change is a myth.
To impose a fear of the people and to accuse you.
That is always the major problem, fear, because that's what they're using. And in order to keep us in fear, they need to have all of their little tools in their toolbox. Corona, the virus pandemic, food shortages, climate change, global warming, all that.
Yeah.
It's all a myth invented by the oligarchs so that they can make money and keep us in control. Is that the short version of what you're saying?
Exactly. How you can control the people. You control in the moment when you use the most important emotion, the fear. In the moment when you are controlling this emotion, you are the boss. And the people, they remain blocks in this situation. They don't understand that this is not part of the life. Normally, doesn't exist the fear in general. Exists just the courage. The courage doesn't mean the first step in consciousness. And they control this because they find that the people, they don't have to have the power to understand who they are. And this was the most important investment in the world. The society doesn't need you to be wise, because if you are wise, you are looking for freedom. And any society doesn't need you to be free. Because if you are free, doesn't mean that you have questions. You will be a rebel. You will be a lion. And they don't need this.
Yeah.
They need ducks.
Their society doesn't need
sheep.
that.
Exactly.
Fear is the ultimate instrument of control then. Yesterday, I think in my presentation, I alluded to the question that they posed to Hermann Göring after the war, when they asked him, how was it possible for you to make a people of poets and scientists and writers into monsters? And he said, it doesn't take much. It doesn't make a difference if it's a communist or a capitalist system. The only thing you need is fear.
Exactly.
And for fear, they're using the pandemic right now. And then the next tool out of their toolbox, and then the next one, and the next one, because only if people are kept in fear do they follow orders.
All of them are on the device. The device doesn't mean everything. The device is already your life. And this make us a lot of problems because doesn't exist any communication between us.
It disconnects them from life.
Totally. And exactly this they want. By the way, this lockdown, which is totally a criminal act, by the way.
Of course.
Is a criminal, the lockdown itself is a criminal act against humanity.
Ramsey's 12-piece set is on sale for Black Friday, but is it...
That's what's happening. Excuse me. Had to jump in there. Got caught there unawares as I was trying to make moves in the background. Oh. Yeah, so